Donald Trump leading right now with 52% to Vice President Kamala Harris with 46%.
Specifically in the state of Illinois, NBC News projects Kamala Harris the winner, adding the state's 19 electoral votes to her tally tonight.
Let's begin tonight with NBC5's Kate Chappell. She is live at the Democratic Party of Illinois' watch party on Hubbard. And Kate, what are people there saying or feeling right now?
Good evening, Allison and Stefan. That's right. We're at Joy District here in River North for that official watch party for the Democratic Party. Elected officials, supporters, volunteers all gathering together to celebrate what they call their hard work to elect Democrats up and down the ballot this election cycle. About 100 people were expected here tonight. There's a bar, some appetizers being passed around, a lot of mingling going on, people in and out, but a lot of anxious looking up at the many televisions in here tonight. People describing their mood and atmosphere, the atmosphere as cautiously optimistic. Of course, they know it could be a while before a president is determined in this race. But there were audible cheers when Illinois went for Harris, as you mentioned. Senator Dick Durbin and Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton are both here tonight speaking with supporters. They also talked with us a short time ago and told us what it would mean if Harris was elected president.
My friend Kamala Harris called me about 3 hours after Joe Biden stepped away from the candidacy and asked if I would support him. And I said yes. I've worked with her on the Senate and Judiciary Committee. She's extraordinarily talented, and I hope to God she ends up winning this election.
I've been a little emotional thinking about the fact that we are on the precipice of making history with the first woman, the first black woman, first South Asian woman, to hopefully, my hope is to be the President of the United States.
Attorney General Kwame Raoul is also here tonight. The watch party expected to go until about 11 p.m. Live in River North, Kate Chappell, NBC5 News.
Thank you so much, Kate.
All right, from the Democrats to the Republicans, let's check in on Republicans watching the results come in for former President Donald Trump.
NBC5's V Win live from a Republican watch party at Coach's Corner in Orland Park. Former president showing some early leads. How is the mood there?
Stephan, good evening. Supporters of the former President Donald Trump here telling me that they're feeling very excited, very positive, and very optimistic by what they're seeing so far with those early results for the presidential race. Now, supporters have been cheering and clapping as several states were called early for the former president, including Kentucky, Indiana, and Florida. As for those battleground states, like you mentioned, supporters here know that it could take days for every single vote to be counted. But right now, some supporters believe that the former president has a clear pathway to victory. Others, however, are feeling nervous, saying it's not over until it's over. Supporters say the biggest issue for them since the very beginning has been the economy, and they're confident in Trump's policies. Here's what the chairman of the Cook County Republican Party had to say about the mood going into the night.
Cautiously optimistic on the presidential race. Some people in here have said that they're nervous, and that's normal. Logical. I'm waiting for a little bit more data. I want to see what Pennsylvania, how that's looking based on where the votes are coming in from there. And a few other states as well. We're waiting to see.
So it's a packed house tonight in Orland Park. Supporters here basically saying it's a waiting game at this point to see how things will shake out for the former president. But right now the plan for supporters is to stay here until about midnight. I'll send it back to you.
It's going to be a long night.
It is. We win. Thanks so much.
Of course, that long night, we want to get some analysis early on the turnout tonight, what we're seeing.
NBC5 political reporter Marianne Ahern joining us now. And Marianne, I know no one can predict anything, but can we get anything from the results? What can we tell right now?
Well, here's what we're looking at, how it is shaping up. There is a gender divide, one that at this hour is favoring Donald Trump. Trump has easily won the states he was expected to win and is showing a strong turnout with men, from older men to younger men. While they're still counting, look at Wisconsin. An NBC exit poll shows Trump doubling his support among black voters. There's anxiety in the Harris camp. There's a very close race in Virginia. Probably still will go for the Democrat, but still that wasn't expected to be the case. Harris will need that blue wall, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, to get to 270. And those states are still counting, and it looks very nervous for her. What we're also looking at is the Latino vote. Currently, they're breaking for Harris, but not in a large numbers as they did for Biden. Latino men are breaking for Trump, and that's where we stand at this moment.
Any clues that we could start seeing some sort of results later on tonight or tomorrow?
We will still see tonight. We'll see results, but I don't believe it's going to be called tonight.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Marianne.
Thank you very much.
Well, tonight the FBI is closely monitoring election threats, including a series of bomb threats that were made across the country on this election day.
Investigative reporter Bennett Haberly has been reporting on election security over the past few days. He's joining us now with what he's learned. Tell us about it, Bennett.
Yeah, Stephen and Allison, video and pictures have been posted to social media showing police presence outside several polling locations. First thing to point out, though, that none of these threats appear to be credible, and that what we do know is that they did cause those disruptions on Election Day, with voting hours extended in some states. In Maricopa County, Arizona, officials there said this is a national and state trend we are seeing with bomb threats, adding that there was no credible information to the issue and it was cleared. But across the country, it was more of the same in Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and in Georgia, where voting hours were extended for 10 polling sites that were targeted by the threats. The FBI said Tuesday that it was aware of bomb threats at polling locations in several states, appearing to come from Russian email domains. But Russian state-owned media says the Russian embassy in the U.S. calls the accusations of interference in the U.S. election, quote, malicious slander. And while these bomb threats, again, have not been credible, it does point to a larger issue that these federal agencies like the FBI and the cybersecurity agencies have been talking about for weeks, which is that there will be attempts to disrupt and sow mistrust through misinformation in the American electorate. Allison?
Bennett, thank you.
Sure.
Our election coverage will continue in just a moment. But first, let's go to NBC5's Marion Brooks with the two big stories we've been following today. Marion?
Well, Allison, tonight, Chicago police are still searching for a suspect after 2 employees were shot and killed at Navy Pier right in the middle of the day. The pier was crowded with kids who were off from school as well for Election Day. NBC5's Natalie Martinez has that story.
Chaos and gunfire on Navy Pier at about 1:15 Tuesday afternoon.
900 East Grand. I got 2 people shot on the ground.
Police swarmed the pier, headed for the Levy Hospitality Administrative Office, where a former employee, fired in mid-October, had just made his way to the Northeast Loading Dock office and shot 2 men, 47 and 51 years old, in the head.
We believe a disgruntled ex-employee entered the loading dock, fired multiple shots, striking 2 individuals who were taken to Northwestern Hospital, where they succumbed to their injuries.
This was an isolated incident in a non-public space at Navy Pier, and we immediately implemented our security protocols and locked down Navy Pier.
Once secure, Navy Pier was able to lift its lockdown.
We used our cameras to identify the fact that he left the pier.
At no time were any individuals in danger. This was an isolated incident.
We stayed in the back of the storage room, and we just stayed there until they gave us the all clear. But a lot of the customers did not know what was going on.
2 officers that hopped out and immediately pulled out automatic weapons, full SWAT gear, the shields, the whole works.
That's unexpected, I guess.
And they're like, well, yeah, you guys need a shelter in place. And we're like, well, we don't know where to go. We're just here visiting. So we just kind of followed them into an office, and then they just kind of kept us safe in there.
Chicago police have identified the suspect and are working on getting him in custody. At Navy Pier, Natalie Martinez, NBC5 News.
Thanks to Natalie. And the Chicago Police Department and the city are now mourning the loss of a police officer killed in the line of duty. 26-year-old officer Enrique Martinez was shot during a traffic stop last night in the East Chatham neighborhood. Police say as the officers approached, rapid gunfire erupted from inside that stopped vehicle. Martinez was struck multiple times and died at the hospital. Martinez had been with the force for 3 years and was engaged to be married.
When it's not only a police officer but a loved one, it kind of takes it to a next level. A family that came here to have a better life, and sadly their son and brother life snatched away.
The shooting suspect tried to run but was later arrested. A passenger was also taken into custody but later released without charges. And another person inside the suspect's car died from gunshot wounds. That's a look at some of the top local headlines tonight. Back to you, Allison and Stefan.
Thank you, Marion.
Let's return to Decision 2024. One of the big races here is the Cook County State's Attorney's race. Kim Foxx, of course, announced that she would not run for re-election, stepping down after 2 terms.
NBC has projected Democrat Eileen O'Neill Burke the winner tonight in that race. And taking a look at the results as they came in, Burke is a retired lawyer and judge who faced off with Republican Bob Fioretti. Burke getting 66% to Fioretti's 30%.
NBC5's Alex Maragos live at Eileen O'Neill Burke's watch party on West Kinsey Street, although I think it's now turned to a victory party, Alex.
Absolutely, Stephen and Allison. Eileen O'Neill Burke cruised easily to victory tonight, as you just saw. Her margin of victory over Bob Fioretti almost 2-1 in this race. Now, this was a very different experience from her from the March primary. You may remember she barely won that race by just 1,571 votes. That race was not called for days. But now she will return to the prosecutor's office where she worked throughout the 1990s. The former appellate court judge says that her day one priority is guns, and she will push her prosecutors to detain more defendants before trial. The packed floor at Moe's Cantina here in River North was ecstatic at the news of her win.
We all want to live in a community where we do not have a mass shooting on a regular basis. We all want to live in a community where people and businesses can thrive when they are unencumbered by fear of being victimized. We all want to live in a community where children can go outside and play.
Eileen O'Neill Burke will take over the office on December 1st. She will get to work quickly. And though they are both Democrats, she distanced herself quite a bit from Kim Foxx in this race. We'll see soon enough how differently they lead. Reporting live in River North, Alex Maragos, NBC5 News. Back to you, Stephen and Allison.
We will see, Alex. Thank you.
Let's check in with NBC5's Patrick Fazio. He spent this evening with Republican supporters for Bob Fioretti.
Here at the Billy Goat Tavern near the United Center, Bob Fioretti thanked his supporters for being here. The Republican candidate says addressing crime should be the top issue for Cook County State's Attorney.
I want to congratulate Ms. Burke. Hopefully she can make the change and be a change agent. And you know what? We will support her, but she has to make sure that she's tough on violent criminals. Come on. You know, and making sure that she can help restore the rule of law.
Fioretti also told me this campaign came down to him not having enough money, which means not being able to reach enough voters. Reporting on the West Side, Patrick Fazio, NBC5 News.
Thank you, Patrick.
So what does the O'Neill Burke victory mean for Cook County, and what changes might we see?
Let's bring back our political reporter, Marianne Ahern, to ask what are O'Neill Burke's plans as she takes this office rather quickly, too.
Right. She will be taking office very soon. She will be sworn in on Monday, December 2nd, since the first is on a Sunday. Kim Foxx, who had won 2 terms as reformer and led the way on the no-cash bail, leaves with a mixed legacy. O'Neill Burke won a very close primary fight. Since then, she has been preparing for today. I have been told by her team she will announce a reorganization. Former state's attorneys, even former judges, will return to work with her at the state's attorney's office. O'Neill Burke spokeswoman tells us that her top priority is getting violent gun crime under control, noting, of course, the police officer's death overnight. She will be asking for detention anytime a violent crime with an assault weapon is involved. O'Neill Burke also, the supporters say she will be focusing on prosecuting criminals and restoring the low morale the office has experienced.
They had a lot of vacancies in the office, too.
More than 200 at one point, and she's hoping to restore those jobs.
All right. Thank you, Marianne.
And right to work in a couple weeks. It's a quick turnaround. Now to the 14th Congressional District. We've been watching a lot of these House races tonight. Lauren Underwood flipped her suburban district blue in 2018. It appears tonight it will remain blue.
Yes, tonight NBC has projected Underwood the winner in this congressional race. Underwood was challenged by Republican James Martyr, and you can see the results there. Underwood 55% to Martyr's 45%. Christian Farr is live at Underwood's party in Plainfield at the Freedom Brothers Pizza. Hey, Christian.
Yeah, actually we're at the Chopped restaurant here in Plainfield, Allison and Stephen, and we just got the opportunity to talk with the Congresswoman, who was a bundle of nerves all day as she was seeking this 4th term, and she has won that, already making her concession speech. Her family and friends and supporters here to cheer her on as she won the 14th Congressional District once again, which she turned from Republican to Democrat back in 2018, like you said. Underwood was a registered nurse who had been a public servant, and during this campaign, she wanted to address lowering costs across the board for her constituents, protect reproductive freedom, and also deal with issues of democracy. Her Republican opponent was James Martyr. He says he is still watching those results roll in right now at the Edgebrook Golf Club in Sandwich. Mr. Martyr campaigned on securing the border, saying we need to stop the invasion. He also wanted to address inflation worries, which included high prices for gas, groceries, and so much more. Congresswoman Underwood spoke from the podium this evening, and here's what she had to say.
We are big and we are diverse. We are farmers and we are scientists. We are investors and we are innovators. We are students and we are educators. We are proud of working hard, and we want a bright future for our kids. But despite all of our differences, we are also a really hopeful community. And together we will move forward. We're going to move forward with a commitment to freedom and justice for all. So I know that it's...
Again, Congresswoman Underwood has accepted the win in this race. Her Republican challenger, James Martyr, still watching those results come in. We texted his campaign, and that's the last message we heard from them. We also got the chance to speak with her one-on-one about the presidential race. She still feels very confident about Vice President Kamala Harris pulling out a win in this. She's going to watch those results come in, and of course, we'll hear from her later in our morning newscast. Reporting now here in Plainfield, Christian Farr, NBC 5 News.
Thank you, Christian.
Well, let's dive more into those congressional balance of power with these races tonight here in Illinois and across the country.
Yeah.
We are still waiting to see, of course, that control of the House. We want to know more about that. House of Representatives and the Senate, they might just flip. Every single seat in the House is up for grabs, and there are 34 Senate races. Here's where it stands in the House at this hour. There are 161 Republicans, 109 Democrats, 165 not yet called. One of the races to watch, Illinois' 17th District. Incumbent Eric Sorensen, a Democrat running his first re-election against Joe McGraw. McGraw, a former judge, has not tied himself to Donald Trump. That is the district that also represents Rockford and other areas near the Quad Cities. As for the U.S. Senate, it's looking favorable for Republicans as the GOP needs to pick up only 2 seats. Here's where it stands. 49 Republicans, 38 Democrats, 13 not yet called. The Senate, of course, has the power to confirm the certain presidential nominees. Redistricting played a big role in all of this, and of course, each state redistricts by who is in power of that state. That's why we are seeing perhaps this flip from the House and the Senate.
And based off the census data, too, we've seen populations shift. All that has played a factor.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Marianne.
Thank you very much. All right, we are watching all of these results come in. NBC5's election coverage continues. Some Chicagoans waited in long lines tonight to vote, waiting till the bitter end to make sure they could do their civic duty. A live update from a super site coming up.
And we're also going to check in on some more race results here for you. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. The polls in Illinois closed right at 7 o'clock, but some voters actually waited beyond that to cast their votes tonight.
Yeah, they waited in long lines that snaked around several blocks in the loop tonight. Let's check in with NBC5 Charlie Wojciechowski. He's been at the super site all day long on Clark. Charlie, what's up?
What's up is an extraordinary sight, Allison. Take a look. The lights are still on here at the super site at Clark and Lake. The last voters just making their way out. That's not because of any court order to keep this place open late. It's because there were still people in line when the polls closed tonight at 7 o'clock. Even during the last few minutes, polls were open here in Chicago. Voters lined up here at 69 West Washington to register so that they could cast their ballots. Some waiting more than 4.5 hours to exercise their right to vote. Turnout for this highly contested presidential election is expected to be high.
It looks like we're going to match levels from previous presidential cycles. We're looking closer to that 70% turnout, especially when we get vote-by-mail ballots counted after Election Day 2.
The same was true in suburban Cook, which also saw some lines.
Things are going great. Really high turnout, highest early voting turnout ever.
mail ballots are high, and Election Day is gonna put us in a really good position.
At this Lincoln Park polling place, DePaul students did their homework while waiting in line.
I do think it's a privilege to vote, and I think it's very important that everyone comes out.
One story in the numbers from Chicago. More women than men cast ballots today by a wide margin.
We're looking at age brackets and we're looking at gender right now, and women are definitely outvoting men.
Now, the Board of Elections did not have to go to court in any of the late opening instances this morning. There were a couple of problems, one at the Ogden School, others with some judges showing up late. They didn't go to court because they have super sites like this one. They could redirect voters here to cast their ballots. Reporting live at the super site, which is at Clark and Lake Streets, finally closing for the evening. Charlie Wojciechowski, NBC 5.
It's been a long day. Charlie, thank you very much.
Yeah, get some rest, Charlie. Well, this is the first election where voters here in Chicago will select members of the Chicago Public School Board.
The 10 members that were voted and elected tonight will join 11 others recently appointed by Mayor Johnson. NBC 5's Lexi Suter is at the big board tonight with a closer look at some of those results. Lexi?
Hey, Steph and Allison, good evening. This is a historic race because it's a new race. Never have we, the people, had the opportunity to vote for Chicago School Board, but tonight, that all changes. So let's take a look. I want to explain to you that the city is divided into 10 districts for school board. Every area equally important, but tonight I want to highlight 3 races, starting with District 1. This covers the far northwest side of the city in Irving Park. Jennifer Custer is CTU's pick. She is in the lead right now, but not by much. Now let's head downtown Bronzeville, the near south side. District 6, Jessica Biggs right now in the lead. She was not endorsed by CTU. Moving on now to the southwest side, the back of the yards neighborhood, District 8, Angel Gutierrez, he's running away with this race. You can also tell he is not the teachers union candidate. So this is 10 total races. We are still watching all of them tonight. 10 winners from tonight's election will join the mayor's 11 appointed board members. But remember, by 2027, the entire 21-member board will be picked by the public. Allison.
Thank you, Lexi.
A big race in Indiana. Voters there have elected a new governor.
The GOP reign in the state's highest office will continue for another 4 years. The projected winner for governor by NBC is Republican U.S. Senator Mike Braun. Take a look at the voting. 84% of the votes in, and Braun with 54% to Democratic challenger Jennifer McCormick. And again, Mike Braun, the projected winner and the future governor of Indiana.
No stranger to Indiana politics. NBC 5's J.C. Davidette joining us back from Indiana. You were talking to voters tonight, J.C.
I did. I got a chance to listen to the issues they were most worried about, and that is right. The state of Indiana does have a new governor-elect tonight. Mike Braun winning handedly over here in the Hoosier State. He will replace outgoing Governor Eric Holcomb. And Braun is now finishing his first term in the Senate. Braun beating out Democrat Jennifer McCormick, like Allison said, and independent Donald Rainwater. Again, we did get a chance to speak to those voters. They tell us that, of course, that went pretty early.
If it was coming back to lead our state, where you can set the agenda, where you're going to get along with the legislature, imagine what you can do with that.
Now, the race was called early. Here by 7:15, we knew who the winner was. Braun ran on a campaign that was propelled in part by Donald Trump's endorsement in May. We did speak to Indiana voters earlier this afternoon. They tell us the economy is their biggest concern. Braun's win tonight now extends the GOP's 20-year hold on Indiana's governor's office. His campaign emphasizing his experience in the Senate. Guys?
All right. Thanks so much, JC.
See, thank you. Up next, Marianne Ahern offers some final thoughts on this election night.
And a look at how tonight's election results will impact other politicians and their decisions for the future. We'll be right back. As we patiently wait for who the next president will be, NBC5 political reporter Marianne Ahern joining us now with what this election means for U.S. Senator Dick Durbin's future plans.
Also, what do you expect from Governor J.B. Pritzker? Of course, you're not on the ballot this time, but we're wondering what's going to happen in the future now.
Of course, one election finishes, another one we might be talking about soon. The results tonight, which we're still waiting to see, but either way, there will be an impact. What will Governor Pritzker do? Will he run for a third term? If he wants to run for president in 2028, it will probably be better to do so as an elected official. But if Kamala Harris is the next president, that puts Pritzker's White House aspirations on hold. Might he join the Harris cabinet? He has hesitated on whether he's interested. How do you say no? Senator Dick Durbin, let's talk about him. He says he will soon make a decision on whether to run in 2026. Durbin has spent 30 years in the U.S. Senate. Most anticipate Durbin will not run, and there are several already eyeing that race. We're also watching what this all might mean for Senator Tammy Duckworth. Again, if there is a Harris win, and that still is a very big if at this moment, Duckworth, would she be interested in a cabinet post? 2 open U.S. Senate seats in Illinois would be really a political bonanza, very unheard of, and most likely, from what we're seeing from the results, may not even happen. But as I mentioned, one election closes, another one begins. We will be looking right away at the 2026 races. Just 2 years away.
Can we just do one at a time?
Yeah.
This has been
You'll have a job for life.
Thank you, Marianne.
Well, our presidential election coverage will continue tonight with NBC News. And of course, throughout the night, you can get updated results on NBCChicago.com and on the NBC Chicago app.
Thank you for making us your choice for election coverage tonight. We leave you now with the sights and the sounds of Decision 2024.
So I just want to get out, use my voice, and, make a difference.
I was registering as a new voter. It wasn't a smooth process.
This is the day.
This is the final push. We're getting into the final hour.
There's a line going around the block.
Cook County will have a new top prosecutor.
The way to predict the future is to create it.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Tonight, Donald Trump, he will be watching returns from Mar-a-Lago.
I think we're going to have a very big victory today.
Kamala Harris at Howard University in Washington, D.C.
This could be one of the closest races in history.